let me just quickly jump into what we do, more in terms of our expertise as well as the different technologies. And the next section, I'll also show some of the use cases and the demos, right? So what do we really, as I said, conversational AI, it's not just limited to chatbots. Definitely we are focusing more on the advanced stages of it. So as a company, we build a lot of applications with voice interfaces. So today, um, an Alexa-like experiences. So, say, yeah, anybody, what we call as a wake word, Alexa, do this. That can be done even for an enterprise. You have an ability to create custom wake words. So say for example, within the healthcare space, we have something like Oscar, or hey Oscar, show me the pets, get me the vaccine schedule of this particular patient, right? So while the doctor in the exam room, while they're talking to the patient, they have an ability to communicate with their own virtual assistant like this with their custom word. This is something, one of the very popular applications which is built, for a pet care company, where since the doctor is busy with the pet or talking to the customer, they pretty much interact with for the medical records or any of the other activities, in a voice interface. So this is something, which we focus, a lot on. The other thing is language understanding. So the two main aspects of conversation, as I said, one is the listening or the voice speech part. The second thing is understanding part. I think at the end of the day, these two have to be significantly done right before we even take an action, right? So we focus. We also specialize in this area around language understanding solutions. It's like, say for example, very simple. We call it as the intent discovery part. When I say that, hey, can I get my insurance for my dad, who's so there is quite a bit of information which is already available, right? So I'm looking for an insurance for my dad whose age is like 70 years, and then there is a pre-existing medical condition which is diabetic. All these information the virtual assistant could use to provide the answer, or ask only the follow-ups, which that information is not present, right? So the typical way, or the typical chatbot way of today, the way it happens is, the question is, hey, how can I help you? So it says, I would like to get an insurance policy. Who is it for? And then that's the way it goes, sequential array of questions. But rather, that's not how humans we communicate, right? Rather, why don't we just say that in English and then use better language understanding mechanisms, and then to improve the user experience. So this is again an area where we so the last one, as I said, say the question around show me the pets that were treated with, say, a medicine and for a species. So we again, this is another area where we focus exclusively on what we call as conversational insights. Um, just like how we consume data through reports and dashboards, why don't we just let the user ask the question in English? This is again an area we focus a lot on, and then which is like providing access to data in simple English, right? Similar to the last question. So the third one, intelligent telephony, which is completely about redefining your IVR experience. How do we really now? IVR is really becoming more as intelligent virtual agent. So when rather than saying going the typical prompts way, so what we do is we just the similar 1-800 numbers, we just let the customer speak, and then there is a bot which intercepts it and then responds. Anything which it cannot, it is integrated with the call volume and the help desk folks, just like how it is done today, with a deeper context. Hey, this is what the customer is called, so there is a good amount of pre-screening or process which is already done by the bot before it hands it over to the human. So these are like very, very simple examples, or very common examples of improving efficiencies, towards time savings and all that. Because so most of the time, sometimes when the customers call, it is for some very, very monotonous scenarios. A very common example I can tell you is, say you go to any large organization, the IT organization, the number of calls the IT help desk would receive, would be so high for something as simple as password reset. Hey, I forgot my password. What do I do? My machine is locked. What do I do? Right? These kind of very, very mundane questions can be very easily handled by a bot. And then, so that's one very common use case theme which is getting popular in the industry, and we focus a lot on this space. The other thing is around smart assistants, and again, which is across the platform. Whether it is what you see, the first screen is on the website. The second one is on WhatsApp for business, especially in countries like India and all. It's very, very popular. When you have majority of the population using WhatsApp for communication, so we also, we have customers sending their same, using the same platform to deliver the business, whether it is submitting an insurance claim or checking the claim status and all that. And then, so WhatsApp is a very common, popular channel. And then the third one, what you see here is also the mobile app. It is, you just build it once and it is available across these channels. Right. And the last one, Microsoft Teams. This is also an area where we focus a lot on. The collaboration platforms are increasingly becoming area where, for you to get things done. As much as, we chat with our friends. So even if there is an approval request for you, say there is a procurement request which is waiting for your approval, you can have a Teams bot say that, hey, you know what? Hey, it can nudge. You have an approval waiting for. Today, it could be happening through an email, right? So you'll get an email, and then you click on and then it takes you to another application. Rather, you can program it in a way that there are bots, which help you orchestrate this workflow within Microsoft Teams. So this is again a very, very popular use case theme, across enterprises, primarily towards, productivity and, and making the collaboration platform, or rather taking them beyond the standard, messaging. So in fact, we have built a very, very, very useful for a HR application. The whole process around recruitment, it is automated, within Slack as a platform. That's something which we built for an executive search firm. These are some of our customers who we have worked with on conversational AI. Some very, very interesting solutions, very large ones, especially the one with Star Health or VCA, the pet care chain, or Daimler. What we have done for them and all. Assurance. In fact, it was an insurance company startup based out of Seattle, and we built a policy recommender on Alexa for them a few years back. So definitely, there are some very, very interesting use cases, which we have done. Say, for example, Siemens Healthineers, their lab devices, so the lab technicians have a way to ask the questions in English and then, get things done, right? So just to highlight a couple of examples, with some bottom line goals. One is definitely the health insurance provider. More than 1 million questions now, it is answered by the virtual assistant. And especially the last couple of years, in fact, it so happened, we had delivered the solution just before the first pandemic, the lockdown started around March 2019. And this came extremely handy for them, to answer the customer queries. See, the insurance companies, especially the health insurance companies, they had a double whammy. One is a lot of people were getting sick extremely, the costs were going up, and the number of claims the service requests were growing significantly. At the same time, you had very, very less staff to support because of the lockdown. That's where a technology solution like this, in fact, this is what I'm really seeing. I think, what the pandemic is also going to trigger is the real meaningful digital transformation going to happen with many of the companies, where whatever we talked about, hey, are trying out some of these innovations. I think these solutions this is the time, many of the companies who had already made the investment, they saw the benefits, or many of them would be doing such. I think, this is the time for some real digital transformation activities, leveraging technologies like conversational AI and all, going mainstream. Absolutely, I think, we handle the entire digital journey for this customer, both in terms of revenue increasing sales as well as optimizing costs. There is something, we've done a lot of work for them. The second one is, again, which I would like to highlight here, it's on the pet care space or the healthcare space. It's for the doctors. Two significant aspects are, one is, the virtual assistant, in this case, it is called Oscar. They just ask questions to Oscar in English. Hey, Oscar, get me the vaccine schedule for Fluffy. Hey, or if you are doing a research, hey, show me the pets treated with, say, doxycycline for influenza in the last 2 years. All these questions in English. The doctors ask those, and then that's the way, that they consume this data through this virtual assistant called Oscar, right? Behind the scene, it mines millions of rows of data. And not just providing the information, it does beyond, right? Kind of the way, it summarizes, the way it gives you the related information, or completely automated, with the language interface, both speech, as I said, the primary interfaces, in the exam room, they have this application sitting in a tab. They just interacted with the voice interface. That's the way, this whole interaction works. So under the hood, a little bit about technology. And we're just getting close to the time. Pretty much, we are a Microsoft Gold partner, and then one of the completely built on Microsoft Azure related technologies. You can see the entire suite of technologies we use underneath for these conversational AI solutions. Primarily the speech services and LUAs, which is the language understanding part around natural language understanding. We extensively use, especially the speech services. It's not just about your English language. When you go to domains like, say, for example, for Daimler, the vocabulary in the engineering space was very different. Hey, what frame rail options did we use in Allison trucks? So definitely it has to understand what is Allison, what is frame rail, or what is frame rail 10078, right? All these kind of domain specific vocabulary understanding, I think, you can improve. You can build those language models using, whether the speech services, Azure speech services, or, and then the lowest thing, right? And definitely our low code framework, it's in the Microsoft Cosilla approved. What I just showed you, Kiwi, just like few clicks, you have an ability to build and implement a conversation AI solution. And that's that's where we really come in. We really help you with the time to market. The significant gain is in the time to market to get build some of these stuff. So how should you get ready? Just a simple, just one of my very last few slides. As I said, if you have not really done, definitely I would say, starting with a proof of concept or concept validator. I'm sure, many of you or many of the companies have already been in this journey. They have already been experimenting with it or taking it to the next level, definitely. But the first step is, as I said, as simple as like an FAQ. That's all it takes. It's a very, very simple way to get a virtual assistant done, but slightly better than, or rather much better than, a chatbot experience. Right? And then I also showed you examples with Twinkle, how you can really integrate it with the business transaction, including two-factor authentication and all that, right? Getting the business layers, many of the companies, they have very large legacy footprint. So having them ready, or rather with the ability to integrate with these conversational AI services, is also very, very important. And making it a true omnichannel. Definitely, it's not just about a chatbot. You can have the same virtual assistant available in a mobile application, or a telephone, or in a messaging platform like WhatsApp. I think that's what really makes it much, much more powerful, taking it across those different channels, right? And the last one is very, very important. These things, anything to do with AI and machine learning, it evolves over a period of time. So we do have, in fact, even within the Kiwi ecosystem, you have an ability to track adoption, and then, improve the accuracy on a continuous basis and all that, right? The last few slides, as I said, in terms of, just to summarize, how do they really help? Definitely, the new channels. I keep talking about whether it is the smart speakers or the messaging platform. I think, and new interaction method, other than your touch interface or the point and click. Now you have an ability to just talk, right? Personalization, absolutely. With a deeper context. Say, and the one I was showing you in the video, where the virtual assistant was really walking the user through, with the context on the web application, right? Efficiency gains, absolutely. There is a number one theme. Most of the companies are attempting these use cases. Reducing, very common one is reducing the call volume. Right? Definitely, this is one of the primary reasons why many of the companies are, leveraging these technologies. And augmenting human capabilities. When very common example I just showed you is around the doctors. The transcription part or the documentation part, which used to take 30 to 40 minutes, it is a significant time savings for them, right? So yeah, the last one, definitely, with our platform, just makes it that much more easier. And it's like, don't just build it once and then use it, launch it across messaging channels, and continuously monitor, measure, and improve the adoption. And this is the way we call it. Definitely chatbots are getting better, similar to the Gartner example, the infographic I showed you. The next evolution is the virtual assistant, which are more personalized, which are extremely context aware, which are helping you get things done. That's where we focus mainly, and instead of just building just build a conversational app. I mean, it's not just about even a chatbot, right? So these are few of the ways, definitely we can help. You can engage us. So, we do have an option to do free trials and POCs. That's the way most of the time, we start our engagement with the customers. I would be more than happy to have a chat. Please do reach out to us. The emails are there. And that's it.